Despite the fact that we've known about the Digimon Pendulum Z for a few months now, we didn't know a whole lot about the actual gameplay of the device. We saw a lot of information about the setting and about the different Digimon that we could see, but as for what kind of things we could see in terms of quest mode or in terms of actually caring for your virtual pet, there was a lot of unknowns, and that all changed this past week in the lead up to the end of the pre-order period, which I will go ahead and make that clear right now. The pre-order period for the Digimon Pendulum Z is indeed over. You can no longer pre-order these directly through Premium Bandai Japan, and they never did go up on Premium Bandai US, which is very surprising. I haven't seen that happen in quite some time, and it's disappointing to say the least. Regardless of that, if you are still looking to buy one, you may be able to still find it through some resellers. Give it a shot. You may end up paying more than you'd like. Unfortunately, that is the nature of doing these things as pre-orders only. I don't necessarily agree with that format, but it is how it is for the time being. Apart from that, though, it was very weird to see Bandai not give out details as far as the gameplay was concerned for so long, but they really just went bam, bam, bam right in the last week and showed us everything that we wanted to know. And I'm going to go into detail on these various things that have been revealed, but it can kind of all be summed up into one quick statement. So if you just want to know exactly what the gameplay of this device is like, I will tell you now. This is literally just the Digital Monster X, but with a pendulum, and that is it. That's really what this device is. The gameplay is taken directly from the Digital Monster X. The only major change to it is the training and battling mechanism, which we'll go over that in a bit here, but otherwise all the features that I really enjoyed from the Digital Monster X will be returning, which I'm stoked about. I love the Digital Monster X. It's my personal favorite modern Digimon device for some of the reasons that I'm going to be exploring here right now. So let's get right into it. These things were revealed over a series of tweets, with the first tweet that came out talking about how they've received some production models for the Digimon Pendulum Z. So that's exciting. We get to see it. I don't know if these are being displayed by an official person working on the Pendulum, or if this is actually the person that runs the Digimon Web Twitter, but whoever it is performing these videos gives us a good look at everything that we really wanted to know. So the first one of these videos they show is on the Nature Spirits Pendulum Z, and we see Wanyamon, the baby 2 form of that device, wandering around, and they put it into a training session, and in that training session we get a look at how battles will go, and that is, of course, since this is a pendulum, they will be done via shaking. Now, from what this looks like, it doesn't look like the shaking will be based on a specific number of hits, and that could be incorrect. This is me just kind of looking off this video and judging it based on that, but it looks like you have to reach a certain number of hits, yes, but once you have that meter filled up, it looks like you're good, and it displays that visually. So we see in the video them shaking it a number of times until 3 arrows fill up, and then once those are filled up, then they're good to go, and that appears to be the excellent hit. On the Digital Monster X, there were 4 levels of hit. You had bad, good, great, and excellent. So if by shaking it this number of times you get excellent, you can easily see that. It's nice and visual, unlike on the Digimon Pendulum 20 and many of the other pendulum devices, wherein you would shake, but you wouldn't really know what your output was, so you wouldn't be sure if you were making the right number or not. This looks like a good, clean way to really demonstrate how many shakes you need to get to a certain point by just showing it to you right there. And it even has nice little audio cues as well, which I really appreciate. Now, in the training segment there, we see that this is not what we would consider a mega hit on the pendulum. There are shots of various sizes, again, so it's going like the Digital Monster X. We probably won't see mega hits on this. It's going to be, again, very much like the Digital Monster X. So don't expect to see that same kind of fanfare you'd get on the Pen 20 with a big mega hit popping up. Now, the thing that does pop up, though, that we are all very excited to see come back is the cut-ins. We see a nice big picture of Wanyamon's face cut in as he is doing his attacks, which is awesome. So glad to see that return. These little 16 by 16 sprites, you know, there's only so much you can do with them, and I'm not going to get into the debate of whether we should see 32 by 32 or not, or any other size, but this is a nice middle ground. We get the 16 by 16 sprites for those that like the small things, and we get the larger faces for the battle cut-ins, which is great. So glad to see that returning. Now, on the next tweet, we switch over to the Deep Savers Pendulum Z, and we can see Gizamon on that one. And this is actually something we already had confirmed long ago, and it was surprising because we were shown this like right after the reveal of the Pendulum Z. They showed off cold mode, wherein you can pause your Digimon by putting it in the freezer. This is returning. Thankfully, you can still pause your device They're showing it off again. Before they showed it off with Gaomon, and then that was like the last tweet. I expected to see a whole string of tweets after that one, but no, they saved them all for now. Who knows? There could be a number of reasons as to why they had to delay on that. Not going to get into that here, but either way, here we go. It's you can freeze your Gizamon. Isn't that great? After that, we see a bigger update in the form of a Mon memo released in the middle of the week, which was pretty surprising. There's a lot of flavor text in here, a lot of them talking about like, oh, the mysteries of the folded continent and all that. It's fun. I'm not going to talk about that here because the flavor text isn't why you're here. You're here for the important details. So one thing that's important is that it does say that Copymon will not be returning, which is expected. They were not in the Digital Monster X. This is based on the Digital Monster X, so Copymon are not returning. However, it does say that Jogressing will still be in place, which is finally, we have actual confirmation on that, because we went so long just with them talking about how Jogressing was in the old devices, but not actually explicitly stating it's in these ones. So I'm glad to see they've actually finally said that for real. So that's great. They mentioned that the cut-in feature will be returning, which we know from the last video we watched. And very nice bit of confirmation here is that we will be seeing Digimon from the original Pendulum series appear on these devices as enemies. And we'll see an example of that here in a minute. They mentioned by name Triceramon, Rukamon, and Weezermon, all of which were the mascot Digimon for the original Pendulums. So obviously they get called out. I don't know how many of the original Digimon will be appearing, but it's nice to see, despite the fact that we won't be raising them, we will still be able to see them on these devices, which they refer to as Nostalgia Max, in case you wanted to know the technical term. They also mentioned in this Mon memo something that pretty much everyone knew, and they call attention to that. They said the sharp one should have already noticed, and I am indeed the sharp one. Make no mistake about that. But there will be 3 more Pendulum Z releases for Wind Guardians, Metal Empire, and Virus Busters. We do not see the coloring of those yet. They just show 3. They're identical. They just showed 3 identical Pendulum Zs. They even have the same background that are all grayscaled. So there's no more details to reveal about that right now, but sure enough, they are coming. And in addition to that, they talk a little bit about the special Digimon that come from connections on the current wave, the Nature Spirits, Deep Savers, and Nightmare Soldiers devices. So they show off Plotmon, Armadimon, and Wormmon again. Again, these are all the protagonists from Digimon Adventure 02. They're mentioning them here because, yes, we will be seeing the other 3 on the next wave. We'll be seeing Vmon, Hawkmon, and Patamon all in the next wave. They don't say that on this page, but it is just so blatantly obvious that's what they're doing here. I mentioned that in a previous video, how I expected that to occur. A lot of people expected that to occur. It was one of the conclusions that was very easy to draw from the original materials we received. So yeah, we're going to see the other 3 on the next devices for sure. And if you weren't sure about that, they even mention here about the Jogressing between those devices. So it says that in Nature Spirits you can use Tailmon, whatever. It says Gatomon on my screen, but I usually call her Tailmon, whatever you want to call her. Shows that it will Jogress with a unknown Digimon to reach Sylphimon. And if you've watched Digimon Adventure 02, you know who the unknown Digimon is. It's Aquilamon, and we will likely see Aquilamon in the, I would guess, the Wind Guardians device. Don't know for sure. It could be any one of the devices, but I'm going to say Wind Guardians just because it makes the most sense. Vmon would also make sense there due to his tie with Veedramon, but since this is focusing on the anime, we're probably going to see Vmon go the ex-Vmon route rather than Veedramon route. Although Veedramon might make a return appearance. We've had one returning Digimon from each family on each of the Z devices so far, so who knows? We'll just have to see how that goes. But yeah, sure enough, Sylphimon's in there as a Jogress evolution for Tailmon, and Sylphimon becomes Valkyramon. So there you go. That's great. We go on to Armadimon, who becomes Ankylomon. We already knew that much. Now, we didn't see any additional evolutions for Ankylomon before. Tailmon was shown to have Anjewamon and Ophanimon as evolutions, so we'd assumed that that would be it for that one, but no, sure enough, they used Sylphimon here, which is a bit surprising to me, because this would mean that Tailmon might have more evolutions than the other 02 partners, and I would guess they might do the same for Patamon. I don't know. I'm hoping there's not like imbalanced rosters, personally, is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see the Nature Spirits device have more devices than the other 2, because, well, that's just, that would just be sad. So, I don't know. I don't know how they'll make that up for the other ones. But either way, Ankylomon does Jogress into Shakalmon, as we should expect. That normally would come from a Jogress with Anjemon, who I would expect to see on the Virus Busters device coming up. Again, that's not confirmed. That's just my personal guess for what device it'll be on. Now, here's the interesting thing, and I'm not happy about it, is that We then see Shakalmon becomes slash Angemon. Now, I have nothing against Digimon lines going any which way, but if we're talking about the original, like, anime stuff, I would expect to see Shakalmon become Vikemon, because that was, on the original D3, that's what Shakalmon would become. With a Jogress of Shakalmon and Zudomon, you would get Vikemon. And I thought that would be a nice way to tie it into the Deep Sabers line, but no, we have slash Angemon, which, I mean, I have nothing against slash Angemon personally, it's just, this kind of goes against the theming overall, which, I don't know, I probably get more upset about that than a lot of people do, but I would have preferred to see Vikemon here, especially because we don't have an actual, like, VPET with Vikemon on it, at least not a Japanese VPET. We, of course, have the Pendulum Cycle 7, which, if you've seen my Twitter, you've seen a quick video of me giggling furiously at Vikemon. I'm going to throw him up on the screen here so you can see how stupid he looks on the Pendulum Cycle, but I love him. Oh my gosh, that was a fun discovery there when I first got him. Either way, so we have slash Angemon, not an aquatic Digimon. Vikemon would have been a better fit, but hey, I'm not going to complain too much. Slash Angemon hasn't been on a device before at all either, so good to see him here. Moving along, we have Wormmon and Stingmon, who we already knew about, but we have confirmation here that Stingmon will be able to Jogress into Dino Beamon, which that is a Jogress evolution with X-Vmon when Stingmon is the lead. I don't know exactly how it works in the canon of the whatever. I don't know. I'm not here to talk about anime. That's not my deal. I'm here to talk about the VPETs and sometimes the card game, but the anime that's my least understood part of the series. I still watch it, but whatever. It's not my biggest thing. Now the VPETs and electronics based on the animes, however, like the D3 is fascinating. If you never looked at the D3, you should. Never buy one though. The D3 version 15th is great, but the original D3, holy cow, what a fragmented mess that was. It was like you had to own how many? You had to own so many D3s and the Wonder Swan games and the D Terminal if you wanted to get everything out of them. It was insane. It was very scummy of Bandai to do it that way, but hey, whatever. It's in the past. The version 15 fixed a lot of those issues. Either way, so there's Dino Beamon. I would assume Vmon will appear. Like, here's the thing, right? Vmon doesn't fit cleanly into the Metal Empire for sure. So then Wormmon doesn't really fit cleanly into Nightmare Soldiers. Armanimon doesn't fit cleanly into Deep Sabers. So none of these have to fit cleanly. But because Hawkmon fits most well into Wind Guardians and Patamon fits most well into Virus Busters, that's why I'm relegating Vmon to Metal Empire. That's just my guess there. Dino Beamon retains his original ultimate of Grand Kuwagamon, which is awesome. Great to see him here. I don't think he's been on any devices. In fact, I don't think. None of these guys have. Valkyriemon has been on the Pendulum Cycle, but these other guys haven't been on Virtual Pets. They may have been on other electronics, but not Virtual Pets. So happy to see them all here. Surprised Grand Kuwagamon hasn't, but hey, there we go. So there you have it. So there's the 02 partners available as Jogress. They also tease one more thing and I never understand the Japanese phrasing here because I'm using automatic translation, but they have very interesting phrasing, at least when translated this way. It says, perhaps that Digimon may appear in the game with all 6 types. Like, they say that Digimon. Am I supposed to, like, know? Is it, like, I'm guessing that's just saying it's famous Digimon of some kind? But, yes, they are implying that you do need to connect all 6 versions together to get a certain unlock, which is a bit insane. And, again, a bit of a cash grab there. So, I don't agree with that kind of practice, personally. And as such, I will promote to you all right now, Digimon Online. I've mentioned it before, I have a video on it. If I know how to use YouTube, then I put a card at the top that will take you to my video on Digimon Online, which will help you understand how you can get connections to other devices without owning all of them. Because, well, a person like me, I will own all 6 types, no problem. I live for this. I love this crap. I don't care how awful it is and how scummy the practices are. I still end up buying it because I'm pathetic. Either way, if you're not pathetic and only want to spend a ludicrous amount of money on one device, do not fear. There will be a way for you to be able to get everything by using an Arduino circuit. More details in that video. But back to this. Who will that Digimon be? Well, there's already a good chance that Susanamon will appear because we have, what are they? It's Aldemon and Beowulfmon. Well, we know about Aldemon. We don't know about Beowulfmon yet. We're not sure about him, but again, likely in the Wave 2. Aldemon and Agumon and the other Agumon, who is a spoiler for Kizuna, all of them appear when you connect all 3 Digimon Pendulum Z versions for Wave 1. I would expect that if you connect the 3 versions from Wave 2, that you would get Gabumon, Secret Gabumon from Kizuna, and Beowulfmon and all that stuff. All those lines, you'd get all those. I talked about that in a previous video. So with all those unlocks, I would expect that Aldemon and Beowulfmon can somehow fuse together and become Susanoo. So is that who they're talking about here? I don't know. There could be a whole nother Digimon. Impossible to say right now who they may be referring to, so speculate wildly. But after that, they mention how all 10 warriors are going to be appearing, which, again, we already know. We saw 5 of them on this wave. We'll see the other 5 on the next wave. They mentioned the 4 holy beasts, which this one I am surprised about. I was not expecting them to use them all, since we only saw Baihumon on this wave. That means the remaining 3 beasts of Tsutsumon, Ibanomon, and Qinglongmon, or however the crap you pronounce that. Chinese romanization is hard, man. Those 3 will be appearing on Wave 2. I don't know how they'll fit exactly, because Ibanomon I would expect to be either part of the Deep Savers or part of Jungle Troopers, which Jungle Troopers isn't its own device. It's kind of split up between Nature Spirits and Wind Guardians, and he didn't appear on Nature Spirits, and so he might appear on Wind Guardians with the other plant types. I don't know. Qinglongmon I would expect to be on Virus Busters, I guess, possibly Metal Empire. Baihumon is usually one to represent Metal Empire, but he's already on Nature Spirits as well, so can't be that. And then Tsutsumon, it's a bird. You would expect Wind Guardians out of a bird, so we'll see where the other 3 pop up. They mentioned the 4 great dragons, of which we have already seen Holy Dramon and Megidramon. We have not seen yet Gadramon or Qinglongmon, again, who is also one of the 4 holy beasts, so we'll see them pop up. Could this mean Gadramon will appear as an ultimate form for Patamon? Could be. I'm down for that always, because, you know, I'm very much a Gen 1er when it comes to Digimon, so everything that happened before Season 2 basically is like my favorite. That's like my Bible for Digimon. That's what I look at and I'm like, oh yeah, in the card game, Holy Angemon became Gadramon, so that's my favorite. I'm simple that way. You don't have to think that way. If you think other ways, by all means, but I've always liked Gadramon as an ultimate for Patamon. I know some people like that for theming purposes against Holy Dramon, but I don't even care about that. I just like him as because angels becoming dragons is cool, I guess. So that's all they mentioned in the Mon memo. They say that there will be another update. I'm looking forward to that, of course. We've got a lot of information that's still unknown for this. So let's move on to the next video that they tweeted out. So in this one, they show off Quest Mode. Quest Mode is in fact returning, which is great to see. In this case, they're using Algamon Adult to show this off, and Algamon goes into Quest Mode. It goes into level 2 of Quest Mode, so areas are back. They're calling them levels now. I hate that, because level also refers to the experience level. Therefore, it's not a unique term anymore, and that just bugs me. Either way, it's not that big of a deal. So they're called levels now. I don't know why they changed it, but whatever. I guess there's no map. I didn't see a map, so I guess that's why. It's still basically a Coliseum with different levels of the Coliseum you go through. They just didn't want to call it Quest Mode, maybe. Either way, so it's the same format, though, as Quest Mode in the Digital Monster X, wherein you fight a few Digimon, there's a boss. At the end of the boss, you get an item. And does this mean that we'll also unlock evolutions this way? So they didn't mention that, and I'm going to say probably not, personally. And the only reason I say probably not is because of the smaller evolution trees on these devices. There's only 6 adults and 6 perfects and 6 ultimates, and then 2 super ultimates. And it's not that many Digimon to unlock when you compare it to like the Digital Monster X's, which even the X1 had a huge number of ultimates, so it made more sense to unlock more of them as you went on. And with Jogressing being a big thing in the Pendulum series, I expect evolutions to be more unlocked via Jogress combination rather than by clearing areas. So I don't think that's going to return personally, but it remains to be seen. Experience levels do return, though. Every time you win a battle, you do gain experience, meaning you will level up just like you did before. This Algamon, for example, appears to be high leveled because even though the person shaking it doesn't seem to be getting good shakes, they're only filling up 1 bar. They don't seem urgent about it either. So they're only filling up 1 bar of the shake meter, but they're still getting a cut-in at the beginning. So that means Algamon is likely a higher level. I'm going to assume the max levels from the Digital Monster X will return. We'll see 6 for adult and 8 for perfect and so on and so forth. So there you go. And we see the Digimon from the original Pendulums appearing here. We see Petit Marimon, or Petty Marimon, however you say it. Petty Marimon, we see Gatsumon, and we see Tentomon all appear here. And does that mean that only the old Pendulum Digimon will appear in battles? I doubt it. I'm sure we'll see some from the Pendulum Z appear in Quest Mode or Coliseum or whatever we're calling it. I'm sure we'll see them as well. But they're just showing off this one area, which is featuring just old Digimon. Now, interesting thing to note is that Petit Marimon was indeed battleable as a Baby 2, so that does mean Baby 2s are once again able to battle just like they were in the Digital Monster X. They were not able to battle on the Digital Monster version 20th or the Digimon Pendulum version 20th, so neat to see that confirmed here. Also interesting to note that they are using the sounds from the Digital Monster X as well, so the sound for battles, which was reused from the Digimon Pendulum X, is still here, which is odd because this isn't a reference to the Digimon Pendulum X anymore. That was a very X-specific sound, so I don't know how I feel about that. Of all the things to care about, that is probably the least thing I should care about, but there it is. I'm just putting it out loud because it is a thing that is there. So that's battles. Nice to see them come back this way. I'm happy to see experience levels come back, especially because I really like that in terms of evolution. I like having to have either high levels or low levels for evolution. It's a great way to encourage battling without it being just a basic get 15 battles and make sure you have a good win percentage. I think this is a much cleaner method. It makes more sense and takes a lot of the randomness out of the winning percentage. It wasn't really random in the modern devices anyway, but I think it's just kind of more archaic. Yes, it's the basis of Digimon to have winning percentages, but I think leveling up is a more sensible replacement for that. So there you go. That's the battle system, so very cool. Moving on to the next tweet, we see Baihumon on a Nature Spirits device, and this one is confirming the return of the backup. And we also see the library in there, so we'll know that we can see a review of the Digimon we've already evolved into, and that we can back up our Digimon to start a new one or to swap it out for a Digimon we have already backed up. Again, straight from the Digital Monster X, with one addition, and that addition is that we mentioned before Copymon are going away, and Copymon are pretty important for Jogressing on the Digimon Pendulum version 20th. It was a very common way to get Jogresses without having to actually have a living Digimon that was compatible with your current Digimon. So similar to that, you'll be able to back up Digimon in the Digimon Pendulum Z and use backed up Digimon for Jogressing. So I did kind of expect that to happen, and I'm happy it did. I was worried that it was like, no, that's too good. That's too like expecting it of an idea. Like, would Bandai actually do it? But no, they did. So it may have been obvious, but apparently it was obvious enough to Bandai that they actually implemented it. So glad to see that there is a way to Jogress without having to connect to another device. You can simply raise one Digimon, back it up, raise the one that you want to Jogress it with, smash them together, you're good to go. Now, we haven't seen any demonstration of Jogressing yet, so we don't know exactly how that will look or which Digimon are Jogress Digimon or exactly what the restrictions are, but we'll probably see more about that in the coming months. And if not, then I'll tell you all about it when I do my deep dive into this device after it releases. So that's really it for the major details that they put out. That was the last tweet about that. The last tweet they put out after that was saying that the reservation is ending. So again, sorry if you didn't make it to the reservation. It is over. You will have to find a reseller. People on eBay are probably selling it for who knows how much. Not much at this point. Usually you can find a few good eBay sellers who are able to sell these devices pre-orders that they may have reserved previously. So check those out. Make sure to not spend way too much on those because they shouldn't be too expensive yet. And also make sure to use people with good reviews on eBay. Always check that. I cannot stress that enough. eBay is only as good as the people using it. So if you did already manage to get your pre-order in, great, very happy for you. I'm excited to get mine in a few months. I've ordered all three, of course, so I'll be definitely doing a lot of stuff with the Pendulum Z when it comes out. I'm planning on actually doing a stream for the unboxing this time, so instead of a published video, so that you can see all the information right away. I'll be showing you every single Digimon on it, assuming that debug mode is still around, which it should be. If they take that away from me, I will cry. That would be very sad. So maybe tune in for that too. You either get to see all the Digimon in the Pendulum Z, or you get to see me cry. Either way, you win. It's entertainment. Now, apart from the Pendulum Z, I will mention one other thing, and I don't normally want to talk about Digivices on this channel. Well, I did just talk a lot about the D3, didn't I? But I don't want to feature them too much. I am much more about the virtual pets. I like the Digivices for what they are, but they're not what I am super passionate about. But that being said, we did have the Digimon Adventure Digivice Colon that was just ended pre-orders as well, and there wasn't a lot great about it, unfortunately. Like, we were expecting more details, and they didn't really give more details other than what we already knew, which is just that it's a pretty looking prop. It's got some gameplay, but I personally don't expect that gameplay to go farther than 4 hours. I ordered one. I did end up ordering. I was going back and forth. I didn't know if I actually wanted it, but I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm going to probably kick myself later if I don't. So I did order a Digivice Colon, and I am definitely much more getting it for the aesthetic than anything else. I think it looks cool, but the gameplay, I'm not too impressed by what they've shown off so far. Maybe they'll surprise me later on. I don't know. It remains to be seen, but I'm surprised to say that that's not the only Digivice news I have to share. Bandai did reveal a new Digimon Adventure Digivice non-colon. And this is based on the other Digivices we've seen. It's basically the exact same mold, except one of the new features on this one is it's opaque, which is hilarious that that's a feature, because normally we clamor for translucent devices, and all of the Digivices, the electronic Digivices, were always transparent, these past releases. But no, this one's opaque, which I hate that. I kind of love that. I love that it's like more similar to the actual design in the show. It is the same mold, though. I wish it would have been a mold that was more accurate to the show, but that's asking a lot out of Bandai. I'm not gonna lie. I would like for them to do that. I think they're capable of doing it, but I don't think they would as long as they still have those molds laying around. They're not going to do more work than they need to, unfortunately. So it is the same old mold, and it looks to be basically the same gameplay as the other Digivices. If you never had the original Digivice, or if you never had the Digivice version 15th, honestly, I highly recommend getting this if you're a Digimon Adventure fan. It's cool. It looks like the thing from the show. It has your favorite Digimon on it. It's just cool to have. I just like the way it looks. I think it's neat. That's all there is to say about that. Now, as for this new version, what does it do differently? I don't know. Not a lot, it seems. It's probably going to be just the same old thing. You shake it, which that's a difference from the Colon Digivice, is that you do shake this one. They point that out right there. I know we were curious about that, whether it shakes or connects, and since shaking is very prominent on this page, and since we see the connectors right up top, it's probably safe to say that the Colon definitely doesn't have those features, which, yeah, I know. Sorry if you wanted those. We do see a lot of Digimon on it, though, that weren't on the previous ones. They show off some from the original series, like we see Centaurimon, we see friggin' Datamon. I've been spending too much time in the dub. I keep saying dub names instead of sub names. Rarimon, Pico Devimon, Tonosama Gekkomon, Juremon, Waymon, Leomon. Those are all guys from Adventure 1. So there you go, we got them. We see, now here's the interesting thing, right? We see stuff from our war game, with Inframon and Karamon. We also see Omegamon there, but he's got a yellow background, as does Omegamon Merciful Mode, and then we see Agumon Spoiler Mode and Gabumon Spoiler Mode also have yellow backgrounds. Also, we see a lot of spoilers. Sorry if you haven't seen Kizuna yet, neither have I. I don't know why Bandai keeps freely putting out spoilers for Kizuna when most of the world hasn't seen it. It's very frustrating. I'm going to know so much about this movie before I ever get to finally see it. Whether is it October? I don't know. Hopefully soon. So there we go. So we get stuff from all over the place. Now, I mentioned the yellow stuff because it seems like those are the raisable ones, and stuff with a white background might not be raisable, which I'm interested to see. We have Jessmon here. Jessmon was... I say raisable. You don't raise Digimon on this, you just battle with them. Jessmon was a partner Digimon on the version 15th, so it's not white here, so does that mean it won't be a partner here? I don't know. I'm maybe reading way too much into the yellow backgrounds, to be 100% honest with you. And we may, in fact, see all of these as partner Digimon. Probably not. I don't know. I have no idea who's a partner and who's not. But there you go. So it's got stuff from Tri. It's got stuff from Kizuna. It's got more than 80 Digimon. There you go. I don't actually know what this says. What does this say? I should probably translate that real quick instead of just... Actually, wait. I just scrolled to the bottom of the page. It says it all down there. That's right. So, appeared Digimon, Alphamon. Okay, recently have been newly added, and about 80 Digimon, which is the maximum number in the past, will appear. I do not understand automatic translation sometimes, so take from that what you will. 80 Digimon, which is the maximum number in the past. Does that mean 80 new Digimon? I'm gonna guess no. I think there will just be 80 Digimon on this device. I can't imagine there being 80 new Digimon. Prove me wrong, Bandai. I would love to be proved wrong on that. So, yeah, there you go. That's the Digivice Ver.Complete is what they are calling it. They love that little version naming scheme. I love that they do too. I think it's cute. The VER dot. I like that. So there you have it. I'm debating whether or not to get one because I do have a Digivice version 15th. So it's not like this would be a revolutionary new thing for me to own. And it's also, what is it? 1,175 yen. That's quite a bit of money for something like this. Believe it or not, that is close to how much rather, the Digivice version 15th was. And if you want to buy a new Digivice version 15th right now, you have to spend a lot more than that. So if you missed out on that, I'd recommend giving this one a shot just so that you have one of these Digivices. Again, if you care about them. I understand not caring about Digivices. They're not as much fun as V-Pets to me. There's not a lot to do with them. They're cute, they're fun, I like them aesthetically, but ultimately I get a lot more out of my V-Pets than I do out of a Digivice. Unless you're talking about the Digivice IC, which I will be having a video for. I'm sorry if you saw this video today and were expecting to see another entry in the brief history of Digimon V-Pets, because I do have more of those coming. I've got the Digimon Pendulum one already recorded, ready to go. I've just got to edit it up. I was going to be editing it tonight, but there was so much news I felt like I had to talk about it. So expect the Digimon Pendulum video next week. I am trying to stick to that schedule as well as I can. Hopefully I don't miss any. We'll see. No promises. This isn't my job, but I do want to try to at least somewhat stick to a schedule of one video every Monday. So we'll see how long I can keep that going. Hopefully this was informative to you. If you want to see more update videos like this, let me know. I know I'm not necessarily a news source. I am more of a news regurgitator or news rambler, whatever you want to call it. But if you like these news videos, do let me know. I don't mind doing them. I mean, I say I don't mind. I enjoy doing them. I like just talking freely for 30 minutes. Oh gosh, 30 minutes. I'm so sorry, everybody. Are you still here? Holy cow, if you're still here, props to you, man. Or woman, or whatever you might be. Props to you for hanging out this long. I appreciate it. And yeah, I think I'm done talking. I need to be done talking. So enjoy your Digimon, everyone. Looking forward to seeing more details about the Pendulum Z in the coming months. And I will make sure that, if nothing else, any information that's relevant will be added to my website. Expect some updates to the website this week as well, related to the Pendulum Z, as well as evolution updates for the Digital Monster X. I know those are still going so slow. I apologize for that, but they are coming. I am still working on them. It just takes so long. So, anyway, until next time, everyone have a good week, and I will see you later. Bye.